JD here, and as you can see, we are finally back. It has been a little while, taken pretty much a 3 week break from driving completely, and yeah, I think sometimes that is necessary. This is something I say to people who I coach in one-to-one sessions. I think at times it's actually good to kind of effectively have a deload or even a complete disconnect for a while. Just makes you a bit fresher, a bit more motivated, and refreshes the muscle memory when you come back to something. But this race here is actually the first pre-season race of the upcoming GASR season. There are 2 pre-season races. There's this one at Spain, Catalonia, and then next week, which I will be streaming on Sunday, is at Monza. And originally, I wasn't actually going to take part in this race at all, but I was asked to join because there was a spot available, and very last minute, I decided to say yes. And yeah, really just to get myself back into the groove of F1. The result isn't super important because it's only a pre-season race, but I think, yeah, just getting back into the groove, just refreshing or reopening that muscle memory again. And yeah, the goal of this season is definitely to take the title. I think last season we did some very, very good results, had quite a few wins, multiple wins, drove very well at times, but then in other moments kind of let the rustiness of being away from league racing for a couple of years come into play. Just a little bit inconsistent, not making the right decisions at times, and really just overcomplicating things when it came to things like the strategy, stuff like that. So but a lot of lessons from last season when Carl took the title. Don't think he has lost a title in this league since he's been participating. So yeah, the goal this season is to take the title. And I know qualifying is always going to be a little bit difficult, which it always has been for me, but I think in the race, if we perform well, learn from the previous season, then that is definitely the goal. But this qualifying lap here really had a big effect on the race because, as you can see, going pretty well so far, but going to this last corner, although it's impossible to know from just watching the video, the force feedback completely cut out. So as we're going to here, I turn in, but then there's no weight to the wheel, really catches me off guard, and see, we're not happy about that. The force feedback of my wheel completely cut out, and we're about 3/4 of a tenth up, and if we completed that lap going for the last corner, that would have definitely been P2 on the grid. Carl did a very good lap, but we would have been on the front row. And yeah, being out of position, especially in this game, does have some pretty big consequences. So you can see Carl starting on the mediums, but the 2 guys ahead of me, they are on hards. So as the 5 lights go out now, it's very crucial that I try and clear these 2 guys as quick as possible. So I get a really good start, but then we get a little bit blocked off. We get a little bit of a tap into the back of the Red Bull. That means I've lost the position to the McLaren, and this is not a good start so far. So again, just got to be very careful to navigate around this, just desperately trying to clear some of these hard runners, but haven't driven for a few weeks, so definitely a little bit rusty right now. And I spotted a bit of a gap on the outside here, but if I stayed in this gap, you see the Red Bull, we would have probably been pushed onto the grass. And coming off here, because I lost so much momentum having to turn so tight, we got caught off guard under the traction, and now I've lost another position. So 2 positions lost on the first lap, and Carl, who's already building a bit of a lead, if he breaks the DRS of the guys behind me, you can see he's already, I think, actually broken DRS at this stage because the mediums are going to be much, much faster. This is what Carl is really good at, and this is what I've got to avoid going into this next season, is allowing Carl to have the lead and he's broken the DRS, because he is very good at leading a race. If we're within his DRS or within a pack, then no, I know we can drive well enough to out-DRS, out-maneuver people, but yeah, that's something we have to avoid going into the future. So you can see how much time we've lost already, and if you look at this lap, we're about a second lap slower in this traffic and getting held up behind this Red Bull, and bit of a frustrating start to the race, but it's about to get even more frustrating because you will see over the next few laps, or really this first stint, the guys up ahead of me, who I think the guy right ahead of me is on the mediums, but then the 2 ahead of him are on hards. And you can see we're setting the fast up of the race, so pace is good at the moment. they really just weren't working together. You can see me zooming in there. Thing in this game, if you actually work together effectively, kind of like cycling or like a velodrome cycling, if one guy pushes the guy, whoever the guy ahead is, if you push on that lap and then the guy behind you passes you the next lap with the DRS, then he pushes, then you save behind him, and then you keep switching positions, allowing each other pass, making it easy for you to overtake the guy behind you, and then he pushes for another lap whilst you save behind him, then you can actually really gain a lot of time by doing that. However, in this race, although of course it's just a pre-season race, you can see going side by side into turn 1, you're going to be losing so much time. So respectfully, I don't think these guys up ahead of me were working together that well. I think if they did do it properly, where they're letting each other pass, one guy pushes one lap, the other guy saves, and then vice versa, then they wouldn't actually be losing much time. If anything, they could actually be gaining in time. And also, at this stage of the race, this is where the hards actually start to become quite competitive. So I would be trying to let that Coolman guy, NLR Coolman, up ahead of me. I'd be trying to let him lead the train, because this is the point where the hards actually start to match the mediums, if not become a little bit faster. And I think, again, coming to this race was kind of a last minute thing for me. I knew I had the setup from last season, so I didn't really make any setup adjustments. But one thing I did forget is how durable the tyres are around here. And in qualifying, I decided to use all my softs just to see how much pace I had on the tyres. You can see this McLaren has pitted quite early, going from the medium, so he's going to be going on the hards. But I really should have saved a set of soft tyres for the race, and you will see why coming towards the end of this video. But I decided to let the Red Bull go, because he's definitely going to be on the faster compound right now. And you can see, look at the lead that Carl has had because of this battling up ahead. I wasn't really going to get involved in the battle because I think that would just slow things down even more. And I decided to let another hard runner go, Ickle. And yeah, that's why positioning is really, really important. If I could have started on the front row, I'm pretty confident I would have been able to stay with Carl within his DRS, and then I would have just been switching positions with him, saving when I had to, pushing when I had to, making sure the hard runners behind didn't get within the DRS. But now he's kind of got a free reign of when to pit. He doesn't have to pit straight away, and he's going to have much, much fresher tyres as well. But you can see, look how durable these tyres are, because we're on lap 18, towards the end of lap 18, and the mediums have actually made it to here. So wasn't really so much of a mistake here, but I should have saved a fresh set of softs because we decided to go on the hards. I thought there's really nothing to lose, but I just thought, you know, we're just going to go on the hards, see how it performs towards the end of the race. But I really should have gone on the softs here, and this is good information for when I do have the league race here. This is why it was a good idea to actually do this pre-season race, because it actually gave me quite some useful info for when I do the league race. And I think things like this are I need to cut out when it comes to the actual league racing season. I think if I just do the right strategy, perform an 8 or 9 out of 10 qualifying lap, make sure I don't lose the DRS to people like Carl, then I think we have a chance to definitely win this league racing season. But you can see some of the guys behind me here, Ickle is on the soft tyre, and you can see how much faster they are. I think Carl did a 12.6, so he was about 2 seconds faster initially. Coming towards the end of the race, that's when our tyres will come back into the fold. But yeah, I think round here it's probably going to be a medium to soft or hard to soft strategy is definitely going to be the best strategy around here. I think medium to hards aren't going to be that effective, and vice versa as well. So coming towards the end of the race here, we're down in P6 right now, so this is not a good race so far. And you can see how much time we've lost to the second train, who are just going around the last corner now. I believe all of them, or most of them, are on softs. So I think the McLaren guy who pitted really early, he's on the hard tyre, so that's also a viable strategy. You could do medium and then pit hards really early, get a pretty good undercut. But yeah, we definitely could have done things a little bit better here. And yeah, right here now, if we can just finish in P5, that'd be a good start to the season. But this is all about myself just reopening that muscle memory, just dusting off the cobwebs effectively. And when it comes to a real relay, the real league racing season, if I can speak properly, I think if we can actually execute what I can do, then I feel pretty confident. But you can see we are in the Williams here. For the actual league racing season, it's very likely that we will be using the wild cars. I know I've done some videos in the past talking about the official cars and how they're not equal. I can confirm a lot of people in this league have done their tests as well, and they've actually come to the same conclusion. And at the end of the day, there is always going to be people, well, it's always going to be a little bit subjective, but there does appear to be certain cars that do perform a bit better than the others as well. So coming into the final lap of the race here, just making sure I'm behind the kick here, and yeah, you see Carl going around the last corner. So yeah, just annoying with that qualifying. If we could have been on the front row, we could have been using him, because my weakness is definitely probably my qualifying pace, or just the raw pace in general. But I think my strength is that when I'm in the DRS train, I can just save DRS a bit better. I make a little bit better decisions, when to overtake, when to go for it, when to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more disciplined. And yeah, things could have been a little bit different. But as we come through the last corner, Carl crosses the line now, and coming through into here, we come across the line back in P5. So yeah, just decent to get back on the game again. We've got Monza next weekend, where I definitely want to be putting in a much better performance. I think Carl had a 3-second penalty, so in the end, to be only 8 seconds behind on that strategy, how much time we lost in the first stint, wasn't actually too bad, to be honest. And comparing my pace against him, there wasn't really so much difference in pace. I feel if we just didn't have that traffic, that thing at the start of the race, and we weren't on the actual right strategy, then we could have been much closer. But looking forward to this league racing season. I really hope you had a good Christmas and New Year, and I'll be catching you very soon. Peace.